Paycheck Protection. And I think that was the big thing. So many times that self-employed person thought paycheck protection. They were thinking payroll protection.
Right. They're employees. If they didn't have any employees, it would still apply to them.
Right.
They still get a paycheck.
So there's a lot of people out there still have not applied that are qualified.
Right.
You know, that truck driver, that gets a 1099, the real estate agent that gets a 1099, the consultant that files that Schedule C, and none of them have employees. They still qualify. And so I think that it's not too late to do that. But yesterday, we're going through they're like, we want to know how much more we have to spend. So in our consulting packages, we're looking at step 2. We're saying to our clients, and I think this is a good process for you out there, if you're that small business or that tax professional, is to keep track of your numbers, accumulate them, put it in a separate bank account, whatever. But the thing about it is some of what they thought was deductible wasn't deductible. They thought the complete mortgage was deductible. It's only the interest. They thought all payroll-related expense. No, so definitions, we're going to cover that in step 3 in this presentation. But back here, the interesting note, I said, how much was your loan? And they gave me the number. I took wages off the Schedule C, divided it by 12 times 2.5, and came up to the exact dollar of the loan. What was missing? They had $100,000. Again, changing the numbers, but they had let's say $100,000 Schedule C bottom line. They didn't get 1/12, which is 1 month of that amount of money, times 2.5. So it figures out that they should have got approximately $17,000 more dollars in their PPP loan. So dispersing those checks in this 8-week period to the self-employed person is right. But because it wasn't included back here in the application and you can't reapply, guess what? Qualified expense in step 2, but you didn't get the money in step 1. That wasn't maximizing the debt forgiveness. Mm-hmm. The other thing I want to say is most banks, and again, if I haven't mentioned it, I know we're keeping track of consulting jobs we're doing. We're keeping track of banks. And as of yesterday, before getting ready for this presentation, we're working with over a dozen banks, small banks, large banks. I've got a client in Florida that I'm working a bank there, but not all banks' definitions are the same. That person said, the banker said, we've got to hurry up, back to this rush. We got to hurry up and get the money. And they did run out. It ran out very quickly. A lot of people didn't get money. But what we're finding, some people didn't get the right money. So again, step 1, it's not too late. If you are going to apply, get some help. For example, we're getting questions on as far as do I qualify? Was that self-employed person with no wages? That Schedule C or that Schedule F? Farmers were kind of missed. They were added. But the other thing we're looking at is this question on, I haven't filed my return yet. The thing we're running into there, it doesn't say that you haven't filed your return. You could get a loan back here in step 1. You could get a loan based on a financial statement for 2019. Now, because we're here again, we're going to be able today and through the 4-step series to give you so much more information than we could even a week ago. SBA's put out the application. They've updated some of the definitions. They've added more Q&A. So we're trying to be your melting pot, to comply and to make sure we're correct. So what happens is that when we get to step 3, at that point in time, and I'm going to go back to within the last week or so, these different banks are giving us document requests to do the forgiveness application. They're not asking the same questions. Some of them are asking for copies of the 2019 return. One bank says you have to have the 2019 return completed. Other banks aren't even asking for it. So that's part of this confusion, is because remember, this application has been reviewed and determined by the bank, not SBA.
Right.
So what I am telling clients, so let's go back to this right here. to show you how these are so interrelated, is that if we go back to these people I was meeting with yesterday, they're going through their 8-week period. So that timeline, they're right there. We want to make sure we spend the rules, the 8-week spending, and we'll cover those rules in step 2. But the important thing was that whenever we're right here, we want to make sure to get the right money spent. So what I'm doing here yesterday, 3 out of 3, they did not have a copy of the loan application from step 1. And I'm saying without that loan, they got a signed document. They've got a signed document. But what happens is, and I'll give you another war story from yesterday. And that was in one of them, the app was filed with 4 FTEs. That's employees, full-time equivalent. And in that case, the 941s, the quarterly payroll reports showed 6 names, but 4 of them were full-time, 2 of them were part-time, and 1 of them worked less than 40 hours. It was just a temp. Here's what happens. Whenever I take the payroll and add up the 4 full-time, that's what the loan was based on. But in this application over here, again, they have 6. So now it's like, wait a minute, we can't reapply. So how do we get this? Is because the bank sent out the preliminary on the application saying, here's what we have. We have this many employees and this loan amount. They gave us that information, which was determined back here in step 1. That's how I keep jumping. I apologize for jumping back and forth, but this is so integrated. And again, we're out here 2 months into this process, and we're getting definitions and applications and
after the fact.
The fact. So we're for these people here, the game is over.
Yeah.
We don't even know the rules.
They wish they would have had the information when they're applying, not now whenever they're getting ready to be done.
If you've already applied, you're just about, there's nothing you could do about it. You're past 1, you're at end of 2, now you're at step 3.
Right.
No matter what.
Step 1. Once you applied and got your money,
right,
that's the maximum forgiveness you can get.
Right. It's over. So
in step 2, we got to spend that amount correctly, then apply for it. And we actually have to request of the bank. It's an application. It's a request to the bank for the debt forgiveness. But going back here is now, what did we do with that? We've got when we run up the payroll numbers, it only includes full-time employees, not the 2 temps. But when we look at the number, it includes the 2 temps. So we've now sent an email and a phone call to the bank saying, can you help us?